Hello everyone. So in this session we are going to learn some topics of ultrasonics. So let us first understand something about sound waves, right? Now what are sound waves? Sound waves are generally waves that are passing through a medium, an elastic medium from one point to another, and that carries energy. Now sound waves are classified into three categories generally on the basis of frequency. For example, if the frequency of sound is less than 20 Hz, then it is known as infrasonic waves. If the frequency of sound waves is greater than 20 kHz, then it is known as ultrasonic waves. And if it is between the range of 20 Hz to 20 kHz, it is known as audible waves. So ultrasonics, let us first understand this terminology. Right, the term ultrasonic means very high frequency sound waves, right? As ultra represents high, very high, and sonic means something related to sound. So the ultrasonics or ultrasonic waves means the sound waves having frequency greater than 20 kilohertz. Okay, so now let us first understand some properties or characteristics of this ultrasonic waves. For example, the first property or the first characteristic is that the frequency is greater than 20,000 Hz or 20 kilohertz. The frequency of sound waves of ultrasound waves are greater than 20 kilohertz. Okay, and next property or next characteristics is that its wavelength is small. Right? Why? Because frequency is higher, right? So we know that there is an inverse relation between frequency and wavelength. Okay, f is inversely proportional to lambda. So if its frequency is high, then its wavelength will be smaller. So its wavelength is small. That is why it is having high penetration power. Okay, so ultrasound have high penetration power. Right, then the next characteristic is it can travel over long distance as a high directional beam. Right, it acts as a highly directional beam and it can travel over long distances. Okay, then next is it has high energy content. Okay, it has high energy content. If you know that there is a relation between energy and frequency as E is equal to hf, or we can say energy is directly proportional to frequency. So if the frequency of any wave is higher, then its energy will be higher. Right, so here we know that the frequency is greater than 20 kilohertz, which is very high. That is why the energy will also be higher. Right, as a result it will carry it will have high energy content. It will travel over long distances as a high directional beam. Okay, also ultrasonic is inaudible. It is not heard by human ear. Okay, and the speed of propagation increases with increase in frequency. The speed of ultrasound wave increase with increase in frequency. Okay, so these are some characteristics or properties of ultrasound waves. Now let us understand the generation of ultrasonic waves. Now basically there are two methods to produce ultrasonic waves, right? Or I can say, rather I should say that two methods that we are going to study for the production of ultrasonic waves. One being magnetostriction effect and other is the piezoelectric effect. So let us start with magnetostriction effect. So first let's understand the principle of magnetostriction effect, right? So as the term indicates, there will be a magnetic effect. Okay, there will be a magnetic field, right? There will be something related to magnetic field. Okay, so basically the principle of magnetostriction effect is that if you take a ferromagnetic material in the form of a rod, and if you apply magnetic field in parallel to the length of the ferromagnetic rod, then there will be corresponding contraction or expansion occurring in the rod in such a way that the length of the rod will increase or decrease at a frequency equal to the frequency of magnetic field, applied magnetic field. Let me repeat again. The principle here is when the ferromagnetic material in the form of rod is placed in the magnetic field parallel to its length, okay, remember, parallel to its length, then what happens? Contractions or expansion occurs. Okay, alternately contractions and expansion occurs. Okay, in such a way that the length of the rod will either increase or decrease right, at the frequency equal to the frequency of applied magnetic field. Now this effect is known as magnetostriction effect. Now let us see how this effect we are going to use to produce ultrasonic waves, to generate ultrasonic waves. Okay, so in this figure you can see the circuit diagram of the oscillator, which is known as magnetostriction oscillator. Okay, using which this circuit, using this oscillatory circuit, we are going to produce ultrasonic waves. Okay, so let us first understand the construction of this magnetostriction effect. Okay, so as you can see, there is a transistor, there are two coils L1 and L2, there is a variable capacitor C1, there is a battery, a milliammeter, right, and a ferromagnetic rod, right, represented by AB. Okay, right, in the middle clamping is shown by X. Okay, in the middle clamping is shown, right. So let us first understand the construction of this effect. So as you can see in this diagram, a ferromagnetic rod AB is clamped at the center. You can see it in this figure by the symbol X. Okay, so first of all, the ferromagnetic rod, right, it is clamped at the center, right. Then two coils, two inductor coils L1 and L2 are wound at the ends of the rod. Okay, now this L1 coil, right, at one end of the rod is connected to the variable capacitor. Okay, so whenever an inductor L and C are connected in a parallel, they form a tank circuit. Now what is tank circuit? The tank circuit is a resonant circuit which produces alternating current of frequency 1 upon 2 pi root L1 C1. Okay, so clamping is shown by here. This is L1, right, and L2. Okay, so first of all, what happens when L1 is connected with parallel to variable capacitor C1, they form a tank circuit, or we can say a resonant circuit. Okay, so they will produce a frequency alternating current, right, they will produce alternating current of frequency 1 upon 2 pi root L1 C1, right. Now this tank circuit, the combination of L1 C1 is connected, one end of this tank circuit is connected to the battery and another is connected to the capacitor of the transistor through milliammeter. Okay, now this tank circuit is connected to the battery, right, and another end is connected to the collector of the transistor through milliammeter. Right, now L2 is left. L2 is connected between base and emitter, which is acting as a feedback loop. So this is a very simple, very basic construction. Again I am repeating, first of all, AB ferromagnetic rod is clamped at the center in the middle. Then two coils L1 and L2 are wound at the end of the rod. Then this L1 inductor coil is connected in parallel with a variable capacitor, which is acting as a resonant circuit or tank circuit. Now this tank circuit is one end of this tank circuit is connected to the battery and another is connected to the collector of the transistor through milliammeter, right. Then L2 is connected between base and emitter of the transistor, which is acting as a feedback loop. Okay, now this tank circuit L1C1 will produce a frequency of oscillation, right, with 1 upon 2 pi root L1C1. Okay, so now let us understand the working of this circuit. Okay, so when the battery is switched on, first of all, when the battery is switched on, the tank circuit or the resonant circuit produces the frequency F is equal to 1 upon 2 pi C1 of alternating current, right. They will produce an alternating current of frequency 1 upon 2 pi L1 C1. Okay, now whenever the current passes through the coil, it will produce magnetization around it, right. It will produce magnetic field. Okay, so as soon as current passes through this coil, it will produce magnetic field. Due to this magnetic field, magnetization will be produced and the ferromagnetic material or the rod will get magnetized, right, which in turn produces EMF in L2, and this L2 is then fed back to the transistor, right. So in this way this circuit works, right. Whenever the battery is switched on, first of all, current passes through the tank circuit. The tank circuit produces alternating current of frequency 1 upon 2 pi L1 C1. Okay, and then the magnetic field is produced when the current is passed through the coil, Okay, when the current is passed through the coils, magnetic field is produced. Due to this magnetic field, rod is magnetized, right? And any change in current or magnetic field will produce EMF, right? Right? We have learned this in Faraday's law. Okay. Now this EMF is fed back to the transistor again. Okay. So this is how this circuit works, right? Okay, so let us learn some key points of this working. First of all, when the battery is switched on, the resonance circuit L1C1 produces an alternating current of frequency 1 upon 2 pi root L1C1, right? Then as a result, the rods gets magnetized. Right? How? When the current is passed through the coil, magnetic field is produced, and as rod is clamped between these coils, right? So due to this produced magnetic field, magnetization will be there. So the rod gets magnetization, and with change in magnetization, that is magnetic field or current, the length of rod changes, okay, which is a magnetostriction effect, okay. Now this change in length gives rise to the change in flux in coil L2, right? This change in magnetization will produce EMF or flux in coil L2, thereby inducing an EMF in the coil L2, right? This changing EMF is applied to the base of the transistor, and then it is fed back to the coil 1. L1. Okay, so this is how it acts as a feedback loop. L2 is acting as a feedback loop. So capacitor C is applied, right, or C1 is applied so that the frequency of oscillator circuit is equal to the natural frequency of rod, and thus resonance takes place. Okay, now the frequency at resonance condition, the rod vibrates longitudinally with maximum amplitude and generates ultrasonic waves of high frequency at the ends of the rod, and the frequency of ultrasonic waves produced by this method is given by F is equal to 1 upon 2L root E by rho, right, where here L is the length of the rod, E is Young's modulus, and rho is the density of the rod, right. So what happens, what does resonance means? Resonance means matching of frequency, and in this circuit, to produce ultrasonic waves, resonance condition is required. So when resonance occurs, right, current produces with maximum amplitude, right, so that ultrasonic waves is produced, right. So to produce resonance, to bring the resonance condition, right, we need a variable capacitor C1, so that we can match this both frequencies, right, the frequency of ultrasonic waves and the frequency of oscillatory circuit. Okay, so a variable capacitor is used so that we can tune the value of variable capacitor, right, in order to match the frequency, both the frequencies. Okay, right, because resonance means matching of frequencies. So at resonance condition, rod vibrates longitudinally with maximum amplitude, right. Milliammeter will show the maximum value of current, and the ultrasonic waves of high frequency will be generated at the ends of the rod, right. And this frequency of ultrasonic waves is produced is given by F is equal to 1 upon 2L root E by rho. Okay, so this is how ultrasonic waves are generated. Now let us see some advantages and disadvantages. Advantages is that this circuit is very simple, it is very basic, so the production cost is low, right. The next advantage is at low ultrasonic frequency, higher output is possible, large output is possible. Then in this circuit, magnetostriction oscillator, frequency from 100 Hz to 3000 kHz or 3 MHz can be produced, right. So this is another advantage, that range of frequency is very much higher, that from 10 raised to 2 to 10 raised to 6 Hertz frequency can be generated using this magnetostriction oscillator. Okay. Now what are the disadvantages? Now the main disadvantage is that it cannot generate ultrasonic waves of frequency higher than 3 MHz. Okay, it cannot produce ultrasonic waves of frequency higher than 3000 kHz or 3 MHz, right? Then the frequency depends on temperature. Okay, now in this circuit we are using ferromagnetic rod, and this ferromagnetic material is getting affected by magnetic field and temperature. Okay, so due to this parameters, right, due to this temperature, we need to make the circuit in such a way that temperature doesn't affect it, right, humidity doesn't affect it, right. So temperature affects the circuit, and also magnetic field affects the circuit, right. So there will be losses due to hysteresis, right, that is due to magnetization. There will be heat loss, and due to eddy current. Okay, so heat losses will be there due to the circulatory current produced due to magnetization, and also hysteresis losses will be there. Okay, so this is all about magnetostriction oscillator, right. This is how ultrasonic waves are generated. Thank you.